Hey everyone, it's Alexander, the real Mr. Robinson. Welcome to the channel. This is my review for Raya and the Last Dragon, which is the 59th animated feature from Walt Disney Animation. The movie takes place in Southeast Asia, in the fictional land known as Kumandra. 500 years before the events of this actual movie, there was an evil spirit that roamed across the land, turning people into stone. The water dragons that lived in this land created a special orb that kept this spirit away. But because humans are humans, there's a big divide in terms of who gets to control the orb, and thus the land is separated into 5 different tribes known as Fang, Heart, Spine, Talon, and Tail. So what I told you guys was the prologue to the movie and basically the setup to this world. The actual movie follows a young woman named Raya who's on a quest to try to stop this evil spirit that has been unleashed once again and has consumed her father, because you know, it's a Disney princess movie, so of course something has to happen to the parents. And now, where's Mom, you might ask? Well, I'll let you guys figure that one out yourselves. Even if you haven't seen the movie, I think you can guess it. So if you're brand new to the channel, first of all, welcome. But more specifically, if this is the first video that you're seeing from me, I want to let you guys know that I'm currently reviewing all the Disney animated movies from Snow White to Wreck-It Ralph every Wednesday of the year 2021. This Wednesday's review will be for Melody Time, the 5th movie in the Disney package film era. But before we get to that, I wanted to jump forward several decades into the future, into the revival era, with this new movie, Raya and the Last Dragon. Because the revival era of Disney has been really on a roll. They've had a few misses, but nothing too spectacular, and even their misses are pretty decent. And those 2 misses in question are Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Frozen 2, which I don't dislike those movies at all. I don't even think they're bad, but they just lack some of the creativity that the other movies in this era have. And in the case of Raya and the Last Dragon, it is their best movie since 2016's Moana and Zootopia. I think I like those movies a little more than this one, but Raya and the Last Dragon is still pretty great in its own right. First of all, it's an original idea, much like Moana, which for some reason I didn't think it was an original concept, because since I've been reviewing all the Disney movies on a weekly basis, throughout the Golden Age, every Disney movie that they have made is based off of pre-existing source material. So in my mind, I just thought, okay, what's Raya based off of? Like, what story is this based off of that I probably have not heard of, where the Disney version is probably going to be the more famous version? And it's not based on anything. It's an original concept. The characters are original. The world it's created is somewhat original. I mean, if there was any pre-existing source material that was an influence on this movie, it would have to be Avatar: The Last Airbender. Because the way the movie opens up with the narration and just talking about the world that this movie inhabits, it is very much like the beginning of an episode of Avatar. And if the filmmakers behind this were not influenced by Avatar in any way, I'd actually be shocked, because you can kind of see it written all over. That being said, it's not a bad thing that this is influenced by Avatar: The Last Airbender, because if you're going to be inspired, at least you're inspired by great stuff. And to be honest, throughout the movie, I never once thought to myself, this is just Avatar: The Last Airbender. Outside of the prologue and some of the aesthetics of this world, the 2 couldn't be any more different. Raya the Last Dragon and Avatar: The Last Airbender, oh god damn it, well, the titles are similar. I didn't think of that until just now. Prologue, a few aesthetics, and title aside, these 2 are actually quite different from each other, so there's really no need to argue which one's better than the other, because they're different. And I'll say this about Raya and the Last Dragon. It kinda is the movie that I was hoping the 2020 live-action Mulan movie would be. Because it's not a musical, it's got some really fantastic action sequences, it's got a female lead character who's more interesting and more sympathetic than Mulan was in the live-action film. Which, to be honest, when this movie started, I did get those Mulan vibes, where I'm like, oh great, here's another Disney princess who's fantastic at everything. But the opening of this movie is quite different from Mulan, because there's a little more sympathy towards Raya. She's a more believable character despite being animated. She has a great personality, and just the combination of the way she's animated, her facial expressions, and Marie Tran's voice makes this character feel more alive and more real than Mulan ever was in the bad Mulan movie. And speaking of Marie Tran, first of all, get your fingers off the keyboard right now, Last Jedi haters. I see you. I see you. Anyway, she's really good, and like I said beforehand, she gives a lot of personality to Raya, and as you follow her through this journey, considering where she started out and what's going on with the world, you do really sympathize with her, and in a way, you're kind of on her side, even though there are a few points in the movie where she could be in the wrong. I'm not going to say a whole lot without spoiling it, but I liked Raya, and I thought Marie Tran did a really good job voicing her. And then you have Awkwafina as the last dragon, Sisu, and at first I was honestly kind of irritated with her because when Sisu's first introduced, it plays out exactly like the introduction to the genie in Aladdin or Mushu from the good Mulan movie from Disney. Because Awkwafina's trying too hard to be funny, she's trying to be a stand-up comedian, and for a while, it just seemed like every bit of dialogue that came out of Sisu's mouth was kind of irritating and not all that funny. I mean, okay, you know what? There are some funny moments here and there, but it was just too frequent. And the reason I had more of a problem with this than I did with, say, Aladdin is because the tone of Raya overall is a lot darker and more, I don't want to say grounded, but more, it feels like there's more at stake than with Aladdin, which was definitely a more lighthearted Disney movie, and one that I'm excited to get to and review, but that's going to be a while. But the second I think to myself, okay, can Awkwafina just stop with this routine? That's when the movie stops with her being a straightforward comedian. Because throughout the rest of the movie, Sisu is very sincere, she's genuine, and she's more the heart and soul of this movie, and takes things a little more seriously. So I appreciate that after a while, Sisu just became her own character and actually took the matters of this world and what was going on seriously enough. And then there's a lot more that this movie has to offer, which I think is probably best if you watch the movie for yourself, because it's got a great animated look to it, the characters are fun, the action's exciting, it's very well paced, and there was never a moment where I thought I was bored. If I had one other issue with the movie though, and it's not really a big one, but near the end of the movie, they kind of establish or foreshadow the possibility of another villain happening. And I won't say the situations, but this character that they're foreshadowing is important to another character who is important to Raya herself. And when the movie doesn't deliver on that foreshadowing, I just thought, I don't know why you decided to waste your time with that aspect. But regardless, I still think it's a really fun movie. In terms of the revival era Disney movies, I think Princess and the Frog, Moana, Zootopia, maybe Tangled, because I haven't seen it in a long time, are better than Raya and the Last Dragon. But that being said, Raya and the Last Dragon is still a movie that's worth seeing in your lifetime. It's a lot of fun, it's action-packed, it's more serious and more dark than some of the other Disney movies that have come out in recent memory, at least within their animated catalog. It's a lot of fun. One last thing that I have to say though, and it's no fault to the movie itself, but more to the condition that I saw this in, I wish I was more emotionally invested in it, because much like with Soul, I was robbed at seeing this movie in a theater. And this is a movie that, while not as visually striking as Soul, is one that deserves to be seen on a big screen. Which, yes, for those of you who are wondering, I actually did pay $30 to watch this on Disney Plus Premium Access. But unlike Mulan, I felt like I got my money's worth based on this. And there you go, that's my review for Raya and the Last Dragon. Now before I go, I wanted to say that I've been invited as a guest host on the Talking Disney podcast, hosted by Rachel Reviews, and I'll be talking about this movie, Raya and the Last Dragon. I'll let you know when that podcast goes up on Twitter and Facebook, so hopefully you guys can tune in and check it out. But now I want to hear your guys' opinion on Raya and the Last Dragon. If you've seen it, what did you think? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one. Hey everyone, I just wanted to say thank you all for watching my review for Raya and the Last Dragon. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share me with your friends. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, go check out my Twitch channel, and support me on Patreon. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day and take care of yourselves.